I think it started October 2018, stretched into September of 2019. That's also affecting that region. What else? Somalia, Ethiopia, just pretty much that region. They're just looking at saying that as far as sub-Saharan Africa is concerned, growth is expected to be slow. Why are they looking at? Why are they saying that growth is going to be slow in Nigeria? Well, we've sang this tale several times, have we not? We have. One of the reasons is lack of policy direction. I'm almost tired of saying this over and over again. I've sung this song so many times, but it is what it is. We're not expected to grow. We have joining us, I should say Happy New Year to her. Sigma Pensions is in the building. We're joined by Haley. How are you doing? Hazel. I said Haley. Can you imagine? We can name her Haley as well. Or Helen. Hazel, how are you doing? Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome. So I just started off by talking about the IMF projections for Nigeria. In fact, World Bank and IMF, they're not looking very rosy as of 2020. And why is that?
I think it's just basically in line with it's in line with even our forecast.
Okay, at Sigma Pensions, yeah.
Yes. So we expect growth in Nigeria at 2.5% for 2020. Basically, we just expect Nigeria in general, the Nigerian economy rather in general, to remain on its path of slow recovery. In 2020, not much has changed. Largely, so even the growth we see in 2020, we expect that to be largely helped by higher oil output.
Yes,
output.
As usual. What else is new? It's always oil.
Which would mask some of the negative impact of tax increases on consumption spending. So we see the oil sector grow. The oil sector growth remaining positive over 2020, although we do highlight the fact that Nigeria is likely to come under pressure from OPEC members to comply with output reduction quotas, following the fact that we're largely uncompliant throughout 2019.
Thank you. We never followed the quotas. Lagos, they told us to reduce because they wanted to reduce supply of oil so that prices can come down, right? And we said no.
Prices can go up.
Prices can go up. Thank you. We said no. we didn't follow the rules.
So
all right, please.
That might cap the upside on all output for 2020. We expect oil prices to average around 2 million barrels per day over 2020. In the non-oil sector, we expect improvement in fiscal spending, as well as implementation of the minimum wage to support economic activities. However, we still highlight that these gains are likely to be muted by the impact of tax measures, the VAT increase, border closures, and high electricity tariffs, which would negatively affect consumer disposable income. So yeah, that's basically.
So that's it. That's sluggish growth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sluggish. That's pretty much the story. Yinka is saying I should calm down. That's my proof of this. There's this nasty tanker that broke down at VGC. He says my proof won't change anything. Wait until Uncle Dangote's refinery comes online. Hazel, people have been talking about the pathway to that refinery, how the amount of tankers that are going to be plowing that road, they're going to turn the Lekki Free Trade Zone into another Apapa. And no one has addressed the fact that there is no alternative routes to getting to the Lekki Free Trade Zone. And when that refinery comes on stream, we're going to have another massive traffic headache, and there's no outlook.
Yeah, I think it's something that the Lagos State government would have to look into to fix ahead of time.
Yinka is happy to hear that you're back. He says Hazel and that lovely voice. We're focused on the analysis, Yinka, not the voice. All right. All right. What else are we looking at? The United Kingdom, of course, they just completed their UK Africa Investment Summit. President Buhari was there. I saw this nice little picture in Buckingham Palace with the royals. I know Harry and Meghan were not there, of course. I mean, they've gone to Canada, so they didn't pose any African leaders there, but a bunch of heads of states from Africa and the Buckingham Palace people posed for pictures. They have signed, according to Nairametrics here, about 6.5 billion pounds sterling in commercial deals with Nigerian firms. I take it that this is encouraging, Hazel, that they're signing a bunch of deals with us. I mean, there's no need to get into the deals, but I mean, that's generally just looking at it. So, this is what we want.
So I think the 6.5 was actually across African markets.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Look at me. Thank you for that correction. It's not just Nigeria.
So for Nigeria, it was only when I looked at the breakdown, all I could see was about 350 million pounds. So that's basically like 5% of total.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what's very interesting about the entire thing and just the larger scope of things is that Nigeria's the flow of foreign capital into FDI in Nigeria has remained quite unimpressive.
Low. Right,
Yes.
right.
So even as at Q3 2019, Nigeria received a total of in Q3 2019, Nigeria received a total of about $5.36 billion in capital importation. The largest component of that, however, was foreign portfolio investments. So foreign portfolio investments accounted for about $3 billion of that. Meanwhile, foreign direct investments accounted for merely 4%, which was like $200 million out of the entire thing.
So they're just not encouraged to bring their money here. Let's speak the facts, right?
Yeah, that just ties back to what you mentioned earlier in the first part of this about see sluggish growth continuing and investors are basically still concerned about policy direction in Nigeria. And the thing is that what you'd prefer to drive, what you need rather to drive growth would be FDI as opposed to FPI. FDI is good, but then FDI is more lasting and drives better growth. So so for those I guess that don't fully understand what FDI is. FDI basically is investment in form of controlling ownership in a business in a country by an entity from another country.
Right.
So basically that's what it is, and it could be either organically by buying a company in the target country, or by inorganically by buying a company in the target country, or organically by expanding an existing business in that country. So what would you prefer to see, and what would help drive growth that we want to see would be an increase in FDI.
Yes.
Or increase in FDI, because that would help with improving tax revenues for the country. Would help with improving business operations, as well as lead to productivity gains and greater efficiency in the overall sector which they're operating in, and consequently in the country. It also especially lead to a transfer of technical and soft skills in the host country, and job creation, as well as availability / access to technology, to better technology. So
we hope, but again, all this it's almost the same thing. To the economic outlook of the IMF and World Bank, and if those outlooks are they're not rosy, it's not going to give any country much encouragement to want to come in here. Benga Kamo says, how come the IMF says we'll have 2.5% growth this year, but we hear Rwanda is doing about 8%? Well, Benga, that's because Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies, African countries, in fact, one of the fastest growing countries in the world. Why does it seem like nothing works here in Nigeria? It says, will Dangote refineries not have pipelines from its depots across the state or country from where the tankers will lift fuel? I haven't heard such. That's supposed to, but I haven't heard such so far. What else do we have here? Patty sent in a message. She's confirming the fact that the traffic is now gangster around VGC and Lekki because of that. Did you see it? Did you see that tanker that broke down there? It was horrible, Hazel. Just absolutely horrible. Let's see here. What else do we have? Lukman from Bagada says, quick question, Rotus. Does the IMF and World Bank do these same projections for the US, UK, and all other Western countries? Hold all these nations EP, as he says. They do EP them, Lukman, because they do the same projections. Across the world. It's a global thing. Let's see here. But let's do it because we live here and we need the power. Federal governments and electricity stakeholders to work on an equitable rates. This is regarding the tariff. Hazel, why didn't they work on this ages ago now? This is so annoying. We all know what the tariff issue is. They said they were going to raise it. There was now some pushback about raising the tariffs. They've been going back and forth. Now they're saying they want to work out an equitable rate. What does that even mean? And why didn't you work on this rate 5 years ago? And then just I just don't know. I don't. Anyway, please. What do you?
So okay.
What? I'm
so the
tired,
thing is
man.
that our current electricity tariffs are not
They're not cost reflective. Right.
So 5 years ago, literally 5 years ago,
right.
2015. That's when we had the last electric tariff increase.
Yes.
And initially, they were going to increase it by a larger amount.
Yes.
But then there was pushback, so they increased it by just but basically reduced the amount of increase they were going to apply.
Yeah.
So basically, they're just about to do another increase to it. We're not sure. We're not sure how much increase there's going to be. The last what they had reflected in the in the 2019 2020 MITO was about a 23% increase on average.
Okay.
But basically, it's necessary because the discos are largely not breaking even.
Right.
So
they're losing money.
Yes. Yeah. So following the privatization of PHCN, the electricity sector was broken into three segments. So there's the Gencos, the transmission companies, and then the discos.
Right.
Unfortunately, the discos in particular have not been able to break even. They've not been profitable
because the tariffs are not high enough.
Are not high enough. So that's the problem. So due to unfavorable pricing, they're also they're not breaking even, and unfortunately, that's also making them unable to operate effectively and provide adequate metering and everything. So it's unfortunately like a catch-22 for
them. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Because on our own side, people are complaining about estimated billing and the need for meters and so on and so on. We just and on and on and on we go. Yinku sends in a message. Good morning, Hazel and Rotus. Newsweek says we are the next China. The U.S. Embassy in Abuja seconds that notion. Now the IMF is saying sluggish growth. Who do we believe? The whole thing about Africa becoming or Nigeria becoming the next China is based on the rosy expectations that policies are implemented and the government does what it's supposed to do, right? Yes. Yeah, exactly. But the reality, so Yinkus, I'm going with the IMF and the World Bank because they send delegations to this country. They study what's going on. They've been advising us for years about unifying the exchange rates, about easing off with subsidies. We have not done any such thing, and that is the reason why growth is expected to be slow. This is a tech story. I decided to take this today because it's been making the news, and if we wait until Friday, it's going to be a little bit stale. But maybe I'll still get Fisayo's thoughts on it. So Hazel, sorry, I have to just touch on a little tech here. Flutterwave, and the headline is African fintech firm Flutterwave raises $35 million, and I think they partnered with a World Pay, which is a payment company. I mean, not much to say about that, but it seems pretty good that our one of our own companies, payment companies, has raised some more money, which should, I guess, help them with expanding operations. Yes. What do you think?
I think it's a positive for the payments.
The payment sector,
sector.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting because last year we saw a lot of news around interswitch.
Right.
So we're still expecting that they'd come to the market sometime this year perhaps. And we'd like to see further information about the payment sector and the players in that sector developing even further.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, so it's encouraging. I mean, it's pretty much encouraging. All right, Papike says, Rotus, please stop worrying Hazel and her beautiful voice with such phony questions. Talking about the electricity fund. The NERC folks are surely on, and then he used for hard drugs and says that when they are ready, we'll get there. That's from Papike. Who else do we have out here? This is from George. Says the MITO is a scam. Let disco cost. Okay, this is where I kind of understand where the government is coming from, because if we allow them to, as George is saying here, let the disco cost model determine the price, that might just shoot it up by ×2 or ×3 of where it is now. If we look at what Egypt and other countries did, some of them eased. It's like it was a gradual thing, and that's what we've been trying to do. I mean, where do you stand? You don't want to just. People might riot.
I think if we had a situation where prices were increased maybe on every 2 years, then the impact wouldn't be felt as much as when we wait 5 years or such a long period before an increase is made. So if you see like a 5% or 10% increase every 2 years, you grumble for a bit and then you settle.
Exactly.
That's all. Right. Also, I think what's also interesting in this, I think late last year, sometime H2 last year, mentioned something about a new scheme they were going to pilot for the willing buyer to get to that region from the Gencos. So that would be interesting because at least actually for certain areas in Lagos and I guess across the country where they're willing buyers, we'll be able to push the cost or maybe even put price electricity at cost reflective tariffs or even slightly higher than that. And that it depends how much those customers are willing to pay. And
right.
If they're paying high enough, they'll be able to, if I should say, subsidize what the people in the lower income areas
are able to get.
So
we'll have
it's
to
something
see.
they should try. They should expand on.
We shall see. It's January. We shall see. Max Zorine says, "Good morning, guys. The Dangote refinery is an EPTZ, export free trade zone. Its production is meant to be exported. Yes, but then again, the roads leading up to there, Max Zorine. What's going to happen with that?" Benga Kamo says, "Is Flutterwave a Nigerian company? What are their plans for the money raised?" Well, yes. They're proudly Nigerians. Yes, they are. But I think it's expansions. They are making more partnerships with other payment firms, and they want to just be able to expand payments for everyone that needs to do it. Again, their modus operandi is business to business, making sure that payments can go through for them within Africa and outside as well. Still another tech story here. Central banks, although this is from, and I know the central CBN did this, but apparently Bloomberg is reporting that there are some central banks that are teaming up to do a case study for digital currencies. Do you think it's a good move? I think it's a good move because they're not ignoring it. They're like, hey, look, these. I think the European Central Bank, the Canadian Central Bank is there. And shout out to the CBN. I attended a talk where the CBN brought together some tech people and said, hey, look, we want to look at Bitcoin and all these things. What do you think? I think it's a good idea for central banks to at least look at these digital currencies. And
I think it's important for the regulator of, since they're the regulators of monetary policy.
Yes.
To understand what new trends, what new developments are happening in that space. So, of course, I believe it's positive for the central banks to get involved. I'm not sure if the Central Bank of Nigeria...
No, we're not there. I was referring to... this was like 2 years ago when they called us.
Of course, in general, it's positive that they're looking into it because initially it was almost like it was just a tech-based thing. But then, like I said, if you're the regulatory authority within that's where you need to understand what exactly is going on.
Yeah. Hazel from Sigma Pensions, thank you so much for joining us. Let me end on this. Oh, so Valentine is not here. Oh, good. I cannot. We're staying till 7:30. Oh, no, I'm joking. All right, last message from Mudukwe. Why he's talking about the tariffs? Why every 2 years though? Why not every year increase? Mudukwe, you want to injure people? Why we pay rent every? Inflation goes up every year. With the way politicians are usually reticent to shake up the status quo, 2 years will always become 5 years. Is essentially building up an electricity subsidy. We end there. Hazel from Sigma Pension, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow at Business Express.
Bye.
I drank the time. I said it on there too. Extra time. Oh my goodness.